Guys, what's up? It is Tuesday night, 8 p.m. You know what that means. It is time for Proper Royals. Thank you all for being here tonight. I got a lot of good content to cover, and I got one of the original Proper Royals guests back on the show. It's Mark from 403Fauna. He's out in San Diego. If you haven't seen his content or his collection, stick around. He's pretty cool stuff. I think he's around 40 snakes, so he's kind of a getting out of the early breeder, but definitely an easy guy to hang out with and knows his stuff and is slinging fire. So we're going to talk about that. Happy Memorial Day to everybody. I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you had a safe weekend. I hope it was fun. I hope we took a minute to think about the holiday and what it's about. I don't want to turn this sideways or anything, but, you know, there's a lot of people that aren't here anymore for what we've got. So I'll leave it there. What an amazing place to be that I could dream of slinging ball pythons and making YouTube videos for a living in this country. So I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty thankful for it. So happy Memorial Day. There, I'll leave that there. Like I say, I hope you had a really, really great time this weekend. Quick shout out to Shannon Peck. Even though you told me you don't watch the live stream, Shannon and I did some business this weekend. He picked up a new incubator. He got some eggs just in time, incubator just in time for the eggs. So Shannon down in, I think Daytona or DeLand, somewhere just south of me. So Shannon, if you happen to catch the live stream, thanks for the business. And I also hope that your eggs do great. And thanks for the community, man. We talk all the time on YouTube. Secondly, somebody I don't know at all named Stanley, I won't say their last name. They emailed me. Stanley and his son watch the show regularly, and they watch the videos. Very cool. They emailed me about some business questions, and I gave them my 2 cents. Y'all are welcome to contact me in the same way anytime you like. properroyals@gmail.com. Instagram will always get me. I didn't know if I was going to bring it up or not. It's such a downer. My wife tested positive for COVID, and I woke up feeling like crap today. I took a 7-hour nap today. You guys, I don't know if my energy conveys, but I don't sleep 7 hours overnight usually. So to take a 7-hour nap, I just woke up. I'm a little bit out of it. I got a cup of coffee at 8 p.m. at night. We'll just see how the show goes tonight. I don't know. I tested yesterday and it came negative, but I'm feeling pretty funky today. So I'll test again tomorrow. I think it'll be fine. I got all my shots and boosts and all that. And this would be my third dance with this crap if I have it. So anyway, I made it through the weekend, and hey, we're still doing the show. The train rolls on, you know? So tonight, Mark, 403 Fauna, we're going to talk about his channel. We're going to talk about investments. This guy's been making some killer investments, not to mention he's got some killer snakes. He was just one of the contestants, a weird word, one of the selections on Regis Sphera's King of the Mountain challenge that he's got going on. That is a Desert Ghost Super Enchi, I think. Maybe Mark will tell us a little bit about it. Just every time he posts it, like the guy, the snake looks like a Minnesota Vikings helmet, man. It's just purple and yellow, just electric. So we're talking to Mark about some of his collection, what he's got going on. It's been a cool week. Mark and I were talking about our off screen. We were talking about our growth since he's been on. It's been 8 months since Mark was on the show. And I didn't really actually realize I've been doing the show for 8 months. I mean, time just goes like that. But business is growing, and I had some really good conversations with potential sponsors this week. I think you're going to see some new brands pop up for sponsorship. If you're interested or you think that aligning with Proper Royals makes sense, let me know. Get in touch with me. I picked up a new rack this week. How about that? Or I paid for a new rack. I don't get to pick it up till Daytona. We'll talk about that tonight. We'll talk about breeding season. I'm trying to figure out how to have fun with how many clutches will I have? Like, what's my over under? What are some friendly wagers we can make? Is there like a fantasy league for Proper Royals breeding. I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll see on that. Last week's show, if you didn't get to check it out, real cool show. Ryan he's got 2 channels. One is called Spartan Pythons, and that's a ball python channel. And speaking of investments, that guy's not screwing around. He has spent well into the 5 figures, maybe flirting with he spent a lot of money, man, out of the gate on his collection, and his channel follows that. That's Spartan Pythons. But he also is a major player in the, we'll just call it the plant grower community. And he's got a channel called Welcome to the Grow Tent. I'm completely out of my element with that stuff. But, man, he's got 50,000 subscribers. Kevin Smith doing his intro. We had a real interesting conversation. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit, too. I think what that plant community has accomplished over the past 35 years, going from, Spicoli and Cheech and Chong to hospital caliber dispensaries, man, that's what reptiles go. We got to get that normalized, right? Yeah. So that's kind of what's been going on. Let's go and bring on Mark. Let's get to the content. I always promise you that we'll just have content rather than rambling gibberish. Let's do this. Hey, welcome back to the Proper Royal stage for second, third, or fourth time. Mark's hung out before, but as the main guest the second time. This is Mark from 403Fauna, all the way in San Diego. What's up, Mark? How you doing tonight, brother?
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on again. You were the first to give me an opportunity to be on one of these lives, and I'm still nervous going into it. It's like the first day of school. I've been teaching for 22 years, and still every first day of the school year, I get nervous. So sitting in that lobby is just nerve-wracking.
Well, I'm glad that you're here, and you likewise. What people don't realize is there's guests that are strangers that turn out. Everybody I've ever had on the show is always welcome to come back. I've had just an incredible string of luck with great guests, but some people I just really click with, and Mark has always felt that way to me. And so yeah, I get the jitters, and I get what you mean. I think I know Mark, but I think a lot of people know I'm a professional musician as well. I still get, man, first 3 songs, man, I feel like I'm going to puke every time I go out there. And it's crazy. I've been doing it 25 years, man. But that's part of the fun. Like I imagine that's how people that jump out of airplanes with parachutes feel. It's that rush, man. And then it goes well, and it's the best feeling ever. So yeah. Hey, you just brushed over that real quick. High school science teacher, right?
That's
you keep
correct.
a bunch of animals in the classroom, don't you, with your students?
Yeah. I'm actually teaching in the same classroom that I took biology in high school. And
I didn't know that.
My teacher at the time, he had animals all over his classroom. And I was like, I got to deck it out with animals, because it kind of inspired me to be what I want to be. And I guarantee there's been kids over the years that get inspired to get into animals. I sold a couple of snakes to my students this year, and just to inspire the next generation of keepers is an opportunity that I got to take advantage of.
I think it's awesome. And I don't know if you know this. Most people don't. I have a degree in history and secondary education. My plan was always to be a history teacher, and food and beverage is fun and was kind of addictive, frankly. And it's been good to me. So no regrets. And I got to teach and lead in food and beverage as well. But I love that you're a teacher. I love that the animals are in the class. And I think you've got a proper royal snake in the class, don't you?
Yeah. Sherbet, the orange dream het pied.
Yeah.
And, I just saw a picture of your orange dream. And
that was the sibling that today I posted it, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. You definitely got the pick of the litter on that collection. That one's a really nice one.
Thank you. What I'm really hoping, and out of the eggs, that one was electric. Now, speaking of pick of the litter, though, I shipped you out a banana. The banana het clown, 50% het ghost, plus whatever else is just turning that thing electric. Yours kicks the butts of the ones that I kept. So I think we're even. I'm ahead. You paid me for them. We're even. We're good. But that orange dream that I kept from day one out of the egg was just totally separate. I was just like, what is this, man? And the others aren't, at the time they weren't as vibrant, but that's the same genes, just one parent. It's not like it picked up. It's not like it's a super or it picked it up from a different parent. So that's the same one. The same genes flowing through those two animals. How's that snake doing?
It's doing great. Kids handle it every day and eats on command for them. And
oh, cool.
Yeah, it's an awesome class pet to have. So
I'm guessing you're not going to school at nighttime to feed it. So you feed it in the daytime and it does well and all that.
Yep. I take it right out, put it on the lab table, toss a little rat pup right next to it, and
oh, really?
Yeah.
How do they do with it? Do the kids freak out, or there's some that like it and some that aren't into it, or what do they do?
Yeah, the kids right before they're all holding the little rat and oh, how cute, don't feed it, but they're the first ones to be right up there with their phone recording the whole thing. So
oh yeah,
it's a fun experience for them.
This is getting off subject a little bit. How's the day and age like with? So when I was doing my studies, obviously, well, actually, I tell my son my freshman year of college, we didn't have Google. Like that blows his mind. Like, how do you write a research paper without Google? Yeah, well, I did it. But how from a teacher standpoint, how do you see sort of the general health that phones and connectedness and this new age that kids are growing up in, they handling it well? Is it like us with TV when they thought that was rotting our brains? I mean, what's going on?
I think it's just something that we have to adapt to as teachers. Like at first, when these phones started coming out, it's like, take that phone away, put it in your desk. But if you do that now, the kids will fight you for it. I've heard of teachers getting into fights with students and parents coming over and everything. So for me personally, I let them use it. If there's something they need to look up, I say, hey, look up, Google search this. And I've done some assignments like TikToks and Reels and stuff like that. It's a matter of just adapting to the times, or, just being like the old people when we were young who looked at the stuff that we did as something bad. And
yeah, I tend to agree with you, although I had the viewpoint of 16 to 25-year-olds in the restaurant, and that was a lot of what I saw. I mean, you could fight it, but that horse has left the barn, man. So at that point, then it's, at our pre-shift meetings we call lineup. So at lineup, if it was a new ingredient or a new wine or something, I would be like, look, guys, you don't have to even listen to what I'm saying. Like, here's how you're going to make money. Google, learn everything that you can, because if you don't know about it, your guests don't. But if you could sell it, you're going to make the cash, Yeah, Kai said we had to use the encyclopedia. Yeah, Encyclopedia Britannica, all 27 issues of it every year,
Yeah.
But I think you're exactly right. Like, what's the like the most famous like old man saying? Nobody wants to work anymore. I've been hearing nobody wants to work anymore for my whole life, and all I've been doing is working hard and making money. Like, if you show up, if you do the work, you get the education, and then whether it's YouTube, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a teacher, then the good things come, I think, if we do the work. But you're right. I think we got to assimilate it. And here we are broadcasting ourselves largely probably onto people's phones. I think if we don't reach, I think we're fooling ourselves if we don't figure out how to reach people on phones, whether it's selling stuff, whether it's a message to get out, whether it's community, any of that stuff, So, hey, I'm sorry I didn't mention anybody in the audience. I'm not good with the endless shout outs. I like to just get to the content. But audience, you guys are the ones that make it work. Otherwise, it'd just be me and Mark talking on the phone together, So I appreciate all the support. And I just see we're usually like around 840, 850. We kind of hit 40 to 45 viewers. We're already at 36, and we were at 40 earlier. So I really appreciate y'all being here. Any new followers from Instagram or Facebook? I've been really, really working on learning more about, YouTube. I kind of figured out along the way pretty well. I've been really working on my outreach on Instagram and my content production, and then cross branding on Facebook. So hopefully I see some new faces. If you're new, let me know. Definitely like to say hey to you. And those of y'all that have always given support, I appreciate it. And if you want to know what support is, Mark is wearing Jeremy Warfel's shirt. Like, this is all our community and all cool people that have all helped each other out, you know? So thank y'all very much. Speaking of people helping each other out, my schedule cleared up. I'm going to go down to Tampa for the Tampa Repticon on June 11th and 12th. And Dale at Constricted Reptiles was cool enough to say, yeah, Adam, you want to see what vending's like? Come hang out behind the table. So I'm excited to get to work, and I won't be vending any of my own animals, none of that. But I'll come. There's Shannon. Shannon, I gave you a shout out earlier. Welcome, man. Congratulations on your eggs. But I'll be down at the Tampa show, and I know that Jeremy Bod's going to be there vending. I know George MD is going to be there vending. Steve Casino from Steve Morphs are going to be there vending. Just those four guys, if they had their own show, would be banging. Like, they're worth more than the price of admission. So I'm excited to be down there. Come hang out if you guys are going to be in the Tampa area, June 10th through 12th. Dale, thank you so much for your hospitality, man. So our show, Mark, tell us about your channel. What do you do on your channel, and why should people come check it out?
I started my channel off during the pandemic when I was home as a teacher and doing the online distance learning. And I was putting lessons out there. And of course, in between classes, I would put YouTube on. And this isn't my first go around with ball pythons. So ball python content would pop up on my YouTube channel, and I'd, put it on, and mutation creation would pop up. And that just planted a seed in my brain that I want to get back into ball pythons, because I did keep 2 from my previous stint. And so I got a ball python. And since I already have the YouTube channel running, I decided, hey, I got this ball python. And my first one back was a pastel highway from Bob Clark. I know Bob Clark might be a bad word to say nowadays, but I did get my first ball python back from Bob Clark.
No drama, and the snake didn't choose who hatched him. Like, it's about the snake,
Yeah, and she's been a great snake. She's actually breeding for me now, and I should be producing some ivories and highways with her pretty soon. But so I decided, why not do an unboxing with that snake? And that was my first ball python video. I don't know the exact date, but it was in 2020 sometime. So I continued doing that, and just doing the distance learning and doing stuff with my turtles. And eventually it just molded into being strictly a ball python channel.
And I'm sorry, when you said you were doing lessons online, you were doing the remote teaching when everybody was in quarantine and the school was shut down. Is that right? That's the kind of lesson you were doing, not like, here's how you set up your ball python egg box kind of lesson. Like, you're doing school lessons, right?
Yeah. When we initially went on quarantine, it was like during spring break. So we still had a couple of months before the summer. And that was when I started doing my videos, because honestly, at that point, whatever grade the students had, that was their final grade. And I had to come up with something to try to keep them interested. So I was doing these videos and just putting them up online and doing questions. And I had a good majority of them participate, watch those videos, and it went from there.
And what, and if you could share, I don't know how much you could share about the kids or not, but what grade do you teach?
I teach high school. It's mainly a 10th grade class. Chemistry, biology is 9th grade, but this year I taught all chemistry. But I have 10th, 11th, 12th graders in my classes. Okay.
So so I mean, that's a crazy time where they're figuring out that whole thing. I don't even want to dive back into it. It was a crazy dark time for everybody, man. Like, that was just a crazy time. Okay. And then, so you went from lessons to just straight on to pretty much just straight up ball python content now.
Yeah. Now it's just all ball python content. I'm probably going to do another channel with, cause I still want to do like science experiments. The science experiments on my channel right now are those are like the most viewed stuff. So I'm probably going to veer off with another channel just doing science experiment stuff.
Yeah, keep the content.
Yeah.
The people that come for the science experiments don't get watered down by the ball python content and vice versa. Yeah. Hey, I want to say hey to Ryan real quick. Ryan, thanks for being on the show last week. That's welcome to the Grow Tent. Those of y'all that are interested in such things, that man is on his game. So, and totally approachable. He answers every email. He said he answers around 300 emails a day. Could you imagine, man? It's incredible. Or maybe it was 603 hours a day. Whatever it is, he's check him out, man. So you had 2 ball pythons all along. When did you start buying more? When was that highway that you were just talking about?
That was, I believe, in September of 2020.
Okay, so less than 2 years ago, you have 3, and now where are you at?
I have 42 total right now.
So the hobby is in good shape, and this is why we do this sort of thing. That's fantastic, man. I won't give the spoiler, but you can. I think it was your latest video or one of the latest ones. You had an amazing pickup. You want to talk about that and what do you got going on?
Yeah, so Justin came out with this video on the monsoon and the moray, and just showing us that they're the same morph. And I decided, why not just look at morph market, see how much they cost. And there's obviously none for sale, but the ones that were sold are in the $10,000 to $15,000 range. And I thought, let's take a look at some of the hets. And
I'm sorry, I always forget to, like, I take for granted. Let's back way up. Monsoon is recessive.
Yes.
So you're talking 10, 15 for a visual recessive. And what's monsoon do? Can you give any kind of verbal example of it in case anybody's not familiar?
Yeah, it's basically a snake that's black with like yellow spots and peppers all over the body. It's a super dominant morph. Like if you try to mix other stuff with it, it's just going to be all monsoon. So kind of think of like how pinstripe dominates combos. I think monsoon does that too. So the idea is just to figure out what goes with it, because there's still a lot that needs to be done with it, and just to figure out what can change that or add some color to it. And that's the exciting thing about it. Yeah,
it is new. What has there been a double recessive of it yet?
Yeah, there was. I believe the clown moray is the same as monsoon, has been produced. And what's cool about that is that it has the monsoon body, but then on the head is like all these spots on the head. So that's pretty cool. I think the Mutation Creation has been working on the pied monsoon.
Yeah.
And from the hets that they've come up with, the hets look really cool. So I can imagine the double visual is going to be crazy for that.
That's going to be interesting to see. And I think pieds are due for like a injection of excitement. Like I see pieds kind of trailing off in excitement, but they'll swing right back. We're always just one new combo excitement away from it. But talk about dominating. Pieds are just so dominating. And I know, and I even am in this project. I even want to do it. But I think pied clowns are underwhelming. I think they're better on paper than they are visually. Like what you can do with them is amazing.
I agree.
But the value of the pied or the value of the clown gets overrun by the pied. And I love pied. Like pied is, I still geek out over pied. Like I just got 2 baby females from Jeremy Bod, and I just look at them like, look at these things, and they're amazing, So, okay, so you were looking, you saw that the monsoons were like 10, 15K for a visual.
Yeah. And so I looked at the hets, and female hets running $4,000 to $5,000. So those were a little bit out of my price range still. And the thing about the monsoon hets is that they have an effect on the pattern. So they make the pattern a little crazy.
Okay.
So you can kind of pick out the 50 and the 66% hets, but there are people who sell those at a really premium price too. So it's interesting. I've never hatched them myself yet, but like Jaffe's here. He said that Austin is pretty close with that. I've seen some of Austin's snakes on Morph Market, and I decided to go with 100%. And Dave Green had one for sale on there. He's the originator of the morph, so I picked up a Mojave Het Monsoon from him.
That's cool. And there's so much value in a trusted breeder, which is hard for me to say, because as we're starting out as new breeders, how do you break into that market and become the trusted one? You know, sometimes you gotta figure that out. But it's so nice that when it comes down to hets and who you're gonna spend your money with, yeah, I get it. I get it, man. So and speaking of somebody who's almost always here, Primal Scales, absolutely, man. Disagree with me all day. I am not above being disagreed with, and I'm I think the hobby, but maybe the world in general, could do better with people disagreeing with them. By all means, man, love how the clowns look. My opinion of whether they're cool or not is irrelevant. And like I say, I'm a bit of a hypocrite because I'm absolutely working towards making them. So maybe I'll come around as well. But by all means, feel free to speak up anytime on that. And I do see y'all's comments. So I if you got topics you want to discuss, put them in there and we'll jump to them. It might be a little bit later. Believe it or not, I do write a show and want to make sure that we get that going. But at the end, we always get the comments. So I'm making notes along the way as well on here. So Mark, what's the het plan? You got a single het male monsoon. That's a long road to monsoon land.
Yeah. So when I first got back in, I figured, you know what, I'm gonna start off with some clown females, some pied females. You can't go wrong with those. And as those pied females sat in my rack, and I did a ton of research just looking, what can I put into pied? And Ken, I saw that comment there. And the great thing about ball pythons is there's stuff that you love and there's stuff that you don't love. Right. And I don't want to say anything that offends someone that loves a certain gene, but I wasn't in love with the pied gene. But
right. Yeah, I remember you saying that. Yeah, I was like, you're nuts, man. I still think they're phenomenal. Yeah.
So they're growing. They should be ready to go this year. And I was going to throw Desert Ghost because, you know, I have a couple of really nice Desert Ghost males. But honestly, the Desert Ghost pies don't impress me either. And Monsoon, I think Monsoon pied is going to be it. If you get a chance, anyone out there, I'm sure you follow Austin, but he has a lot of stuff, and I'm looking forward to see what he and Mutation Creation create with the Monsoon pied, because I think that's going to be it. Nice.
On sort of related topic, not next week, the week after, the 14th, Jaffe will be the guest on, and I gotta learn. I gotta do my show prep. I don't 100% know how he's tied in with those guys, but I know that he is at Mutation Creation. I know he's good buddies with Austin at least. So we'll ask him about that. Maybe I'll ask him to do some homework to give us an update on where they're at and what they got going there. But yeah, that's the 14th. Jaffe will be on. The 21st, Matt from Ebony and Ivory, Big E himself, will be on. And I apologize. I should know. I believe his wife's name is Kendra. Hopefully she'll be on as well. We'll see. Next week, I don't have a guest, and I was thinking of trying something different, like talking about like growing and learning. I'm thinking of doing like hosting one of these open chats that seem to be pretty popular now. I'm a little antsy about the drama that seems to come with those because that's not my thing. But if you guys want to hang out, shoot me a note on Instagram or on email properroyals@gmail.com, and maybe we can have it not quite open, but we can have a breeders chat if people want to hang out. Let me know what you guys think, or maybe we'll just go wide open and Wild West it, see what happens. I can run the mute button if I have to. But that'll be next week. No specific guests. We're gonna go with a breeder discussion next week. I forgot to bring that up earlier. So talk about your Desert Ghost, because while you might not like pied, you're one of the like big pushers for me of, and I don't, full disclosure, I don't own Desert Ghost or Het Desert Ghost. So tell us about what you got going on in your Desert Ghosts.
Okay. Before I get to that, Phil had a question about what's
that's right. Yeah.
So that's my Freedom Breeder Fund. And I have a $3,000 top right there because I want to get a Freedom Breeder rack. And I think you mentioned that you got a new rack, so I'll leave that up to you. But my thing is that I'm only going to put in money from snake sales on that. And it might take me 5 years. It might take me 6 months. Who knows what's going to hatch out here that I could sell. But that is my Freedom Breeder Fund, and I would like to own a Freedom Breeder.
Nice. And so it's the old, not the old, taking the money from the hobby to fund the hobby to grow in the hobby on it.
Okay, so getting back to the Desert Ghosts.
Yeah.
Initially, when I got in, my projects were going to be axanthic. I was going to do axanthic double hets with pied and clown. So I bought some really nice axanthics, and I kind of fell out of love with the axanthics. I mean, don't get me wrong. They're still here. They still have plans, but I saw what people are producing with Desert Ghosts, and I wanted to move in that direction. So all of my males were the VPI axanthic, and since I spent all my money initially on the female clowns and the pieds, I decided to get some male Desert Ghosts to make the double hets with those. So currently I have that super Enchi pastel Desert Ghost Het Ghost that I got from Fireball Reptiles.
Oh, wow. He's Het Ghost too. I got to say, the ghost on Desert Ghost is a pretty neat look, man. That's an interesting, that's an interesting combo. And okay, and that's pastel as well. Man, that snake is electric, man. It's a cool snake.
Yeah, it's super clean. And I know with Chip Regisphere, it's part of that contest. And I got to admit that I had my students vote for my snake on the first contest. And I kind of feel bad about that now. So if I'm continuing on the next round, I'm not going to have my students vote. Sorry, Chip, but I'm just going to let the audience fairly vote on that one.
I say let it rip, man. You got to use the resources you have. Who are you? You were up against Keys, right?
Yeah, Keys.
Let me tell you, Keys was campaigning like
yeah.
For it, man. You got to take the gloves off, man.
That's the only reason I got my students involved. Yeah. By the time I saw that video, I saw like 30 votes for Keys. I was like, man, I'm getting smoked. And I realized, he campaigned on his live. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get my kids in on this.
That's right. You're like, everyone with your phone today, either detention or a vote right here, right now.
I tell you what, Chip's.
And sorry, for the record, Keys is a totally cool friend of the show. I will be on his show. He's been on mine. We're totally cool.
Yeah, what's up, Keys? Peace on that. I hope we're cool. But Chip's subs went up like 50 from my students. We got 100 subs from my student that day. So I'm sure he was appreciative of that.
I was going to say, if Chip was smart, he might have the judges select another 403Fauna snake the next round.
But
I think it's great. Actually, what Chip's doing is really cool, man. He's got a personality and enthusiasm that comes out really well, and he edits real well. I don't know who does his editing, probably him, but man, it's I could tell you from personal experience, editing is time consuming and difficult. He does a good job on it. Chip
is some guy who is doing all the right things starting out. From what I heard, I forgot, I think it was with your interview maybe, or
yeah,
this is where he actually filmed like 50 videos before
he has like 50. He has like a bank of 50 just to
yeah. And he's got some really nice ball pythons too, so he's doing the right thing.
He does. He just had his first clutch. Maybe I'm confusing him with somebody. I think he had his first clutch though.
Yeah. So back to the Desert Ghost. So
yeah.
If you're getting males, the males are much cheaper than the females, obviously. So it's really easy to get those Desert Ghost males with maybe a het something else. So I got it with Het Ghost. I got another snake that is a butter Desert Ghost het genetic stripe, 50% possible het ghost. So with that one, it led to me getting a pair of female wild type double het enhancer G stripes from Gobbles Reptiles. So my G stripe Desert Ghost project is pretty strong. And yeah, I'm just gonna throw Desert Ghost into everything I have, along with Monsoon now too. But G stripes, I'm really in love with the G stripe.
I was gonna say you've been a pretty big proponent of that as well.
And here's where I was talking about how you love something, someone loves something different. I guarantee you there's a lot of people out there who look at G-stripe and just say, nah, not my thing. But I absolutely love it. And I love the crazy G-stripes. I love the clean G-stripes. I'm waiting on that blackhead G-stripe from you.
That's right. Oh man, we got to talk about my, like I said, I got to figure out this like over under bet thing, man. But she's still eating. She's still huge. She put the male in the friend zone the last time I paired him last week. I'm going to try it. Wednesday's pairing day. I'm going to try and pair him again tomorrow. Sunday is usually my feeding night, but I was out Sunday night. So I fed them last night. She ate last night. It was one of those like test feed. Like, is she going to eat? And she just flew out of the tub at it. So I don't know what's up with her. It's still, I got to remember, like, it's still reasonably early in the season. My egg, actually, September 28th was the last time that you were on the show. I have my show notes from I'm a nut because I keep everything. I hadn't fed my hatchlings yet. One of the topics we were talking about was hoping that they would take their first meal. I was waiting on the first shed. That was late September. Man, it was nearly October. So we'll see. I got time with her. Those of y'all that don't know what we're talking about, I got a female and a male blackhead het genetic stripe. So I think I've got a 1 in 8. Somebody could check my math. I think I got a 1 in 8 of hitting super blackhead genetic stripe. I think maybe 1 in 16. Anyway, somebody will let me know. Somebody's better at that stuff than I am. But that's the pairing. So she's still building. She hasn't done the get big and then get small. I had one that did that I think is already, like, I think she's out of the running. But otherwise, all of my others are still in the running.
How many? I know this is probably a subject we're going to get to anyway, but how many?
Go there now. Doesn't matter.
How many clutches are you expecting this year?
All right. So I had 13 that I paired. And to give a really, really quick recap, I had 2 clutches last year. I thought I would have 7 or 8 clutches this year. And then an incredible opportunity came up at the end of February, I believe. Is my calendar over here. It doesn't matter. Somewhere 90 days plus or so ago, incredible opportunity came up to buy a breeder that I knew very well, to buy his collection. He was moving, life changed for him. He got a promotion, had to relocate, all that stuff. I bought his whole collection. He had already been pairing some of his. And so I thought I was going to pair 7 or 8, and I ended up with 13 paired females, not on top total. So I paired 13. One of them, like I say, has done the get big, go off food, and then got small, never ovulated. And now, but she actually started back on food again. So she might be an early pairing. Like in the fall, maybe I'll try and pair her again. But so 13 pairings. I think 12 are still potentially likely. And I would have to look on my board, but it's either 7 or 8 that have already ovulated. So 7 or 8 are on the countdown, and 5 or 6 have already had the prelay shed. Like June 7th is supposed to start. Yeah. Oh man, a week from today. A week from today is supposed to start kind of the go. I should have 4 or 5 clutches in June coming. So I was thinking that my over under would be 10 clutches. That's kind of where I'm at. I've got, like I say, 7 or 8 that I'm sure, reasonably sure have ovulated and are going. And then I've got 4 more. 5 that aren't, but 5 that haven't, 1 that I don't think will, and then those 4 toss-ups. And that blackhead is one of those 4 toss-ups. I think I made that more complicated than I needed to, but
it's going to be so awesome just watching you do like egg cuttings. And I see Jeremy in the chat. I know he's going to do some. Ken, hopefully you'll show us what you got. But I'm really excited about seeing how my friends here in the chat are going to do this season.
Thank you. And same to you as well. And it's like those of y'all that haven't experienced, it's just this magical thing. Like, I don't care what the odds are. I don't care what the pairing is. Cutting open an egg and seeing that snake come out, knowing that you cultivated it, that you provided for it, that really the odds of hatching anything in captivity, much less a ball python that we're, keeping in tub systems and highly regulated tub systems. And I'm pointing over here, like you can see it, my incubator's right here. It's amazing. It's really fulfilling. It's incredible. I really love it. What about you? How many clutches are you expecting? And you've hatched a clutch already this year? I thought so. Tell us about that.
So I've had my first clutch already. It laid in January and hatched out in March. So I do have my first clutch under my belt. It was a leopard double het VPI xanthic puzzle to vanilla cream het hypo. So, and what was crazy about that is I completely missed out on the leopard. So none of them came out leopard. They all came out either vanilla or fire.
How many were there?
There was 6 eggs. So doing the math, it was like less than a 2% chance of that happening. So I was totally upset about that. But
sorry, vanilla fire were in the same animal. The parent.
Vanilla fire was the mom, which is allelic. So she could
get one or the other. Yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully the odds didn't favor me in that, but hopefully the puzzles. I've held back all the females, and I still have the dad. But the dad also bred a pastel double het VPI xanthic puzzle. So there's a chance that I will get VPI xanthic puzzles, which as far as I know, hasn't been made yet. And she just ovulated. If you watch my last video, I had video of her ovulation. So that's really exciting, that 1 in 16 chance. Hopefully that happens. But I should have a total of 6 this year. 3 of them have already ovulated, and 1 has already laid.
Cool. So very cool. So you're on your way, man. I got lost in all the hets and the pairings. Did you say you have a chance to make a puzzle xanthic? 1 in 16?
Yep.
He's just like, yeah. And by the way, this might happen. Man, very cool. Oh, look at this. Hey, Living Oddities. I've never seen you on the channel before. Thanks for stopping in. And indeed, yes, Chef, you get it. It's a shout out to all my restaurant family that I spent so much time with in my life. So, man, he's a traditionalist. We got the wee chef. Yes, wee. Thank you, man. Thanks for checking it out tonight. Letco, what's going on? I don't know that I've seen you in the audience before. Seen you around on tons of other shows, though. Thanks for stopping by. All right, so possible VPI puzzle, by the by. What else you got cooking that you might want to tell us about?
I have a pastel double het ultramel ghost that ovulated, and she was bred to Mojave Krypton het ultramel. So 25% chance at ultramels. They'll all be het for either clown or cryptic. So that's pretty exciting.
That would be cool. I've got a Krypton project going in ultramel. I forgot that Krypton ultramel you have is a killer snake too, man.
Yeah. Thank God I have that snake, because he really was the all-star for me this season. I had a bunch of my males just did not want to go. My pinstripe desert ghost, 66% chance het clown. He was supposed to go through everything, but he didn't. So I put the Mojave Krypton het ultramel to everybody. So while the Krypton clown ultramel project was supposed to be kind of like a side project to me, the fact that he's hit up several girls is going to put it at the forefront of my double recessive projects.
Well, and that's a cool topic in and of itself, because you always got to have ideally to have a backup plan, or just roll with the changes that come your way. There's always things that we can't control, and having a second option like that's amazing. And your timing's pretty good. Like Ultramel's got some serious momentum right now, and that darkening effect that Mojave has is really going to do killer stuff with the Ultramel too. I'm a sucker for Ultramel. I'm really, really bullish on it. I think that's going to be really cool. And the more purples you can get into it, the better, in my opinion.
You know, what's cool about it too is that Dr. Hannah Seidel has mapped the Ultramel genes. So I could take all those 50% possible het babies and send her the sheds and find out exactly which ones are the Ultramels. And that's really exciting as a breeder, that we can figure out what these 50%, these 66% possible hets are with these genetic testings. I'm hoping that someone grabs that ball and runs with it, and we could end up with, you know how people genetically test their dogs to know exactly what breeds there are? I'm hoping someday we could just send a shed to somewhere and they could tell us, oh, this is het pied, het clown, so on and so forth. That would be so awesome.
Yeah, her research will lead to that. I've seen a couple Kickstarters for people saying that so those of y'all that don't know, Dr. Hannah Seidel, Eastern Michigan University, the Ball Python Genetic Project on Instagram. Check her out. She's been on the show also. You can go back and look on my live videos. She is mapping, and I'm going to mess up some genetics official words, but in layman's terms, she's mapping out the genetic code for the different morphs of ball pythons. And she's done it in a way that is published in scientific journals. It's peer reviewed. It's done under the scientific method, and it's done in her classroom where her students are the ones doing the research. So it's all very cool. And you could send your sheds to her, and she will test them, or students will test them, and it's free of charge. The downfall is that she is not running a business. This is not a customer service oriented outlook. This is a research driven outlook. So it's free. When they get to testing them is when they get to testing them. They're classroom projects. So she only tests 2 times a year, once each semester. And these are undergrad students testing them, and they make errors and there's inconclusive results. So unless she's 100% sure of the conclusive result, she will not send you the result. And it's not. So I had an experience that snake I posted today that we were talking about earlier, that Orange Dream het pied 50% het ghost, that started its life as 66% het pied, and Dr. Seidel confirmed that it's het pied. Visually, markers, stand out, all that, I would have wagered anything that it was het pied, but she confirmed it. She can test for albino, but they opted not to. The class was focusing on pieds at that time. So she didn't test for albino. No idea if that's a double het or not. And then the other animal that I really wanted to find out about, they tested that one, and it was she said, unfortunately, the results are not viable that I can publish or share with you. So it will happen. The 2 Kickstarters I've seen that looked pretty serious, they completely fell off the face of the earth. I don't know. I hope they didn't just take people's money and disappear. Hopefully they're getting down to business and putting that money to use, but I don't know where that's landed. So it'll come in the future. Dr. Seidel posts all of her stuff. Anybody can use the facts, the data that she has concluded. So if somebody wanted to take the proprietary leap and run with it, it's there for the taking. You just got to have the knowledge and the facility to do it. There's nothing proprietary about it. Maybe the process would be if you had your own proprietary method, but you do not have to pay Dr. Seidel for that data and those facts, though. Did she say? Do I remember right? Did she say that there were 2 strains of Ultramel that she's identified that are compatible, though?
I believe she did. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess I don't know if they're compatible. I guess I don't know what that means then.
Yeah. 2 different lines, I suppose.
Yeah. Anyhow, well, I guess I mean, that would mean that there'd be a day if one of them for some reason got more lucrative or favorable, we could identify which strain of Ultramel it is. Oh yeah, so the racks pickup, you brought that up. So like your thermometer back there, I put some constraints on myself on what I can spend and how I can spend. So my rules are I have many little rules, and actually I document them in my how much money have I made and goals videos. I share all that if you guys want to check them out. But I kind of map out what I want my spending to be. Of course, there's always things that come up that I want to spend that don't fit the map. If that happens, I have to produce the money separate from the household, separate from my day job. It's got to be sort of from the fun pool. Well, I love guitars. I love Gibson guitars. And I found myself with a couple more than I needed. And so what I did was I sold a Gibson guitar to raise some funds. And I bought two things. One, I have a recent video on a Kodam that I would work through my recessive projects. I bought that animal. That's been decided. I'm not going to say what it is, but that's coming. Stay tuned on that. So I bought that animal. I'll pick that up in 2 weeks at that Tampa show. I'll pick up that animal. And then the other thing that I bought was an ARS rack that it's really great. I got to say, whether you like, I don't know anything about the people at ARS. I don't know any, I don't know. But what I do know is that their product is really innovative. You can interchange different levels. So this is getting really nerdy. I'm sorry, audience, if this loses anybody, because up until last week, I had no idea what these jumbled numbers meant. 55 series racks are deeper, and they're good for most females and all adult males, and even the 50-40s are plenty big for most ball pythons. But I have some that need to go up. And then I have a couple that are just going to be monstrous females or are that really need the 70 series tubs. ARS racks, you could do a level of 55s 4 wide and then a level of 70s 3 wide, and they'll stack on each other. What I did not have the money for was another full 10 high level rack. So, but you can customize the modular levels. So what I did was I got the rolling wheels on the bottom. I got 3 levels of 55-40, and they'll be 4 wide. So I got 12 more adult female rack spaces. And then I got 1 level of a 70-30, which is the 30 is how wide it is. That's 3 wide. 70 is the depth and how big it is. 3 of those for the females that start flirting with, 2600 to 3,000 grams. Why I did that right now, whether you buy a whole rack system from ARS or you buy what I did, I don't know, maybe on a single level, it was $400 for shipping either way. Like once it's on a pallet, it's $400. Well, $400, a $1,200 purchase, that's 30%, man. That's a heck of a lot of money. It's a lot of money regardless, but percentage-wise, it's a huge amount. They're going to the Daytona show. If you order now, pick up in person at Daytona, you save yourself that money. So the timing between selling the guitar, Daytona coming up, lead times, I suspect they're going to cut those orders off. They have lead time challenges just like everybody else. So I went ahead and bought those. The funny part is I don't have space for that rack. I'm going to have to remodel my room fairly quickly. And it's not as bad of an issue as I'm making it out to be. If you envision a swinging door, my door swings inward into my room. So I lose that square footage where the door swings. I am going to take that door off and I'm going to hang a barn door on the outside of my room. And with that square footage, then my rack can fit there. And the thing I'm really excited about it is I only have 4 levels of the rack. I can go another 5 high. So if this time next year, I want to hold back another 12 snakes, or I bought more, or whatever craziness I get into, because Lord knows I will. I can buy the modular levels. They're a little more expensive, but the amount I'm saving on shipping, forget it. And they're great, man. I'm addicted to them. You know me. I was so big into the DIY. Like, don't spend that money. Invest in snakes, man. I won't go back now. Somebody was just asking me that the other day. I was like, nope, not me. I'm not going back now.
Yeah, one of my limiting factors right now is I have no more space, and I have some ball pythons that need to move up. And so I'm fortunate that I do have a local store here that makes my racks. This rack right here is a 70 series, the Freedom Breeder 70. So it's a long ones, but I think I'm going to need another one of these very soon. I did just pick up a hatchling rack right back here.
Yep.
And I'll probably need another one of those because it looks like I will have 6 clutches, and that's 18 tubs. So I think I'll need a little one more of those. So probably go with one of these PVC ones and just work on that Freedom Breeder right there.
Well, if I sell another guitar, I'll call you. I get these bad ideas, man. I go like through these like peaks and lulls where I'm like, because I mean, I think I've got 13 guitars. They're like snakes, man. I don't. The person that I bought that other snake from was like, man, I really feel bad about you selling your guitar to buy this. And I'm like, no, those come and go, man. Don't worry about it. I'll buy another guitar and I'll buy another snake eventually. So,
I got a question for you and the audience too.
Yeah.
Let's just hypothetically, I hatch a male VPI axanthic puzzle, and
I know where this is going. Go ahead.
I could ask a lot of money for that, and I'm sure someone will snap it up like that. Question is, do I keep that or do I sell it so I could fulfill my Freedom Breeder fund? What would you do?
You know, this came up before to me because I commented. I used to do a series that maybe I should bring back. Maybe I can make it fresh again. It stopped being fresh and felt like too much like it was a grind. But I used to do this monthly series called The Coolest Ball Python in the World. And I kind of let it sunset and my heart just wasn't in it. But I did an episode on a triple visual, and it was like, I don't remember, 15, 18, 20 grand, something like that. And we had this conversation. People asked me, would you sell it or would you keep it? And let me start by saying everybody's situation is 100% different. There are no two scenarios that are alike. For me, that day, I said in an instant, I was like, I would sell that. You give me 5 figures. I produced it once. I'll produce it again. I'll figure it out. That was before I came across that great investment of the collection. That was before, at that time, I had all the space in the world. I had maybe 20 snakes, and I was using 2 DIY racks. Now I have the ARS rack. I just bought another one. I've got a pretty narrow focus now on what I want to buy. Con Worker 1. He's like, you're out of your damn mind. So now, today, here and now, I don't know. Maybe I'd hold on to it. At the time, that was going to be what was going to jumpstart me. So I could see both ways. If not even you personally, if somebody had a finite plan of, I'm going to buy this, this, and this, and here's what I'll use the money for, by all means, man, sell that thing. If that's going to get you further where you're going, by all means, man. If you're where you want to be and then you can invest it in the future, which you probably would get bigger returns in the long run from keeping it. In the meantime, if you got to eat for the next 3 years while it's growing up and you're going to die because you don't sell the thing, then you got to sell it. So I'm less judgmental that way. The other thing too is, man, I'm cheap, man. Cash is king. I can do a lot when I got cash in my pocket, man. That's how I bought that collection. That opportunity came around, I was ready to strike because I hadn't blown all my money, so I don't know. I won't knock you either way, especially if you got a plan for what you're going to do with it.
Looks like the audience thinks I should keep it. I mean, I didn't even hatch it. I might not even hatch anything out of that, but I would lean towards keeping it.
Okay. Since we're hypothetically speaking here, because this is something I've kicked around. I never brought it to fruition, but here's something I kicked around with people before. What if, again, I'm not making any offers. We're just totally pretend land. This is why this show's great. Who knows where it goes? This is why I don't write 20 questions, because then it limits where it goes. What if, let's call the person Adam, calls you up and says, hey, you got this visual puzzle VPIA Xanthic. What if I invest in that snake, but you keep it and you raise the funds for your rack, and I'm a partial owner in the future offspring and the future revenues? You know, I'm a 1/3 owner for 3 years and then I'm paid off, or I don't know, something like that. Best of both worlds. And I wouldn't have to raise money for rats either. Then I wouldn't, you know, then.
That's an interesting concept. I mean, you'd have to have a rock solid relationship with the person. And
right.
Get that in writing and everything, because who knows what if that animal dies on you. And
it would be you got to have the trust. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, in some ways, it's like any business, though. I mean, somebody raises venture capital for $100,000 for a restaurant. We know the failure rate of restaurants. Like it, you know, there's risk for that investor. So, yeah, but that's, I have a good buddy that he's interested in snakes, doesn't own any, doesn't want to own any, will never own any. He loves the business aspect of it. And that something along those lines is something that we were talking about. We never could make it work. And then I just got antsy and sold a guitar instead to raise money. But that was something that we had kicked around, though.
Yeah, that's a tough topic. I know a lot of people have been burned before on, you know, sharing breeders and stuff like that. So
to me, I think that's one of those, like, not what I was just talking about with the hypothetical thing with your snake, but sharing breeders. It's not something I recommend, but if it'll give you that jump start to fast forward you. I mean, those early leaps are what pay off, because you don't get that time back. You don't get the 3 years of waiting on the hets to prove out back kind of thing. Like, you got to get to it. So it's a risk reward, and it's a dangerous risk. You could get burned on it. You could get a sick snake. You could get somebody that thinks that you owe them more than you think that they owe. You know, this day and age, you have somebody show up at your house with a gun. Like, that's all. It's hard, man. So Dale says he's just going to buy it outright. Speaking of fast forwarding, yeah, I'm not at the point where I could make an offer to buy it outright. But that was the other part. Like, I could buy a little bit of it. How do I make this work here? I could buy a little bit of that snake.
I've never heard of that, partial owning a snake. That's pretty cool.
I've truly never heard of it actually in practice. But if you think about shares or stocks of a company, you know, all the stuff that they always talk about on Shark Tank, I'm going to own X percent for this amount. It's that sort of application and mindset. Do you trust somebody enough to be a good enough owner and a good enough partner? Because, yeah, at the end of the day, you're banking on them not going out of business. If business goes gone, your money's gone. So there. Now we all have something to think about. Whoops, go ahead.
I was just saying, what's up to Keys?
Oh, yeah, Keys, there he is. Yeah, we were talking about you earlier. I think it was good. It was totally respectful, but I think it was good. Who ended up winning that? Not to pick at a wound if it didn't go your way. Who ended up winning that one?
Sorry, Keys, but, you know, I took that round.
Oh, you came back and took it? Oh, I thought it was such a done deal from the comments. Okay. Well, I'll let that be. Yeah, Straight Blast Python says you're basically investing in the person, not the snake. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. That is 100% what you're doing on that. I don't know if Shannon's still in the audience. Shannon asked earlier what dominant or co-dom did I end up buying, and I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to hold off on it, but I will tell you about about the question. 2 or 3 videos ago, I made a video about my next big investment, and I was working with Steven at Leviathan Snakes on a project, and he says to me, Adam, you're kind of known as the recessive guy. You got all these building blocks of visual recessives. How many visual recessives next year will you have to breed? Females. I said, well, I'll have 7 different recessive genes, visual female breeders. He says, what if you finally found a dominant that was so exciting to you that you would buy and breed through those and just make hets? And I was like, speaking of individual circumstances, Steven deals in a higher level of risk and a higher level of money than I will at this point. And he's great to watch grow. And if I will not bet against that guy, he will make it. He's going to do the right things with it. But generally, when Steven makes suggestions like that, I have to go, yeah, not me. I'm not the guy, which I kind of did at the beginning. And then I got thinking about it. I said, wait a minute. That's a pretty good idea. And I started looking up genes that have wheels and have momentum, but aren't widely available, and certainly aren't a whole lot of hets available, that I could document that I was making 100% hets, no 50s or 66%, and that I could get the offspring right away with the dominant in them. And so I made that video and got a heck of a lot of good input, and I really, really appreciate it. And I did make a purchase, and I did follow a lot of people's advice. So I'll leave it right there. 2 weeks I picked that up. I'll reveal that that week. So mid-June I'll reveal what that is. And this community is awesome. First, for all the input. Secondly, I did business with somebody in the audience as well tonight. So thank you. Maybe we'll unveil it together. We could do a little duo video. So that would be cool. So yeah, I am an owner of that snake. I don't have it yet though, and I'll tell you about it later. That was what I did. What else you guys want to talk about? Mike, how are you? Herp Collectors, thanks for joining the show tonight. Thanks for everybody for being here. We've had right around 40 all night. Usually we do like teens to 20 and kind of peak and down on a bell curve, but this has been steady all night. Thank y'all. Those of y'all that don't know Mark, this is Mark from 403Fauna down in San Diego, East Coast to West Coast nationwide tonight. Check out the link down below in the description. His YouTube and Instagram links are on there, and give him some love. He's got killer snakes, and he just floats. He's just I kind of got this, I got that. Man, do you have any you can show us, or you want to leave them be tonight? How are your snakes tonight?
Sure, let's
show us that desert ghost, man. And I'm not even a big desert ghost guy, but that thing is a cool snake.
It's in another room. It's going to take me a minute. So you got a promo to do?
Sure. You know what? I will. Yeah, I'll buy us some time.
Okay, I'll be
back.
All
right. Mark's going to get the snakes here, and any others that you want to check out, Mark. That's the only request I'll make. So let me know otherwise. Next week, we're going to do an open chat breeders thing. It won't be quite 100% open, but if you get in touch with me on Instagram or properroyals@gmail.com, I will absolutely get you set up and come on the show. You know my style. I'm not interested in drama. I want to stay on ball pythons. So that's the only reason why it's not totally open. Shoot me a note. Come hang out. I'm down for it. That's next week. The following week is Jaffe. And then the following week after that, the 21st, will be Matt, Big E from Ebony and Ivory Exotics, Pythons, Ebony and Ivory. You guys know Matt. He's going to be on the show. It's going to be cool. If you all are interested in sponsoring a show, let me know. Your logo could be right there. You could have me cut a promo for you. and we could do it on live or the traditional videos, or we could do a package deal. And I absolutely want to cater to customers. And the sponsorships are valuable to me because it allows me to spend more time focusing on creating great content rather than some of my other jobs and my other revenue streams. So I'm always interested in that. I think there's a super chat button if you want to contribute to the Rat Fund. And otherwise, just keep watching the show. The support is phenomenal. Just crossed 1,350 subscribers today. Thank you all. I could not have imagined that. If you're going to be in Tampa, June 10th through 12th, I'll be at the Repticon there, hanging out with Dale at Constricted Reptiles for sure. And I bet I'll be hanging out over at George's table, George MD, and Jeremy Baude. I'll go see him, as well as a bunch of other cool breeders in Tampa. It's going to be a good show. And then, of course, I'll be at the Daytona show. I'll be looking to hang out. We got both those places have auctions, and I'm pretty sure both those cities serve beer and maybe some whiskey. I'm always down for hanging out and having a good time. All right, we're going to bring Mark back. Thank you all for putting up with some promos, and let's check out some snakes.
Okay, so I grabbed a couple of DGs here.
Let me bring you bigger. Hang on. I got to figure out how to do that. No, wait a second. Yeah, there you go.
So here's the Super Enchi Pastel Desert Ghost Het Hypo. And take a look at that head stamp. It's just crazy.
Super vivid too, man.
Yeah, it's super clean. There's hardly any dirt on it. And I think getting that pastel in it is key. I mean, the Enchi Desert Ghosts are pretty hot, but you get pastel in there and it just makes it pop like crazy. So,
yeah, you get kind of the washed out effect from some of the ghost on the back. But yeah, the head stamp is just vivid as can be.
That Enchi head stamp. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
So this guy, he's Het Hypo as well. I got him from Fireball Reptiles. Jeremy from Fireball, the Desert Ghost King here. And he is really feisty. Looks like he wants to eat me right now. But I got big plans for this guy. Just the fact that he'll throw Enchi, everything he breeds to, along with that Het Desert Ghost is pretty powerful to have. Yeah.
Getting to a point where you're not 50% or 66% het is just a huge, great place to be from a breeding standpoint. That's fantastic.
I grabbed the other male Desert Ghosts in my collection here. I have 3 total, but these guys are the latest additions. This guy's a Butter Desert Ghost, Het Genetic Stripe, 50% Het Hypo. And just look at how clean this guy is. So
what year is that? A 21 or a 20?
This is a 21, I believe.
Yep, he's looking good.
About 300 grams or so.
Okay.
I'm hoping both of them will be ready for this upcoming season.
I would think so. How big is that Desert Ghost?
This one about 300 to 400 grams, and the other one just a little bit bigger.
Gotcha. One more time on the genetics on this one. A Butter
Desert Ghost, Het Genetic Stripe, 50% possible Het Hypo.
Okay, so that's another visual Desert Ghost as well.
Yeah, and this was from Osman Reptiles. He had 2 of them for sale. And this one was just the cleaner of the 2. And I figured if Het Hypo shows up in any way, this guy would probably be the one that proves out. So
sure.
Out on that. Yeah. So Desert Ghost, Adam, I can't believe you have no Desert Ghost in your collection.
I have none. I'm coming around to it. It's if my pure goal hadn't been for a dominant or a non-recessive gene, this last investment, I actually probably would have gone Desert Ghost. But I liked the idea, and the timing was right on taking that stab, getting the dominant through through all the female visual recessives. So hopefully that will fund some Desert Ghost stuff in the future. That's probably the next recessive, short of some screaming deal on something like a monsoon or a sunset or something.
I think the future of Desert Ghost is putting it in the dark morphs, because Will's Hella Heat just mentioned that gotta have more oranges and not have it all Pittsburgh Steeler colors. So yeah, I think putting it in with the darker morphs is the key to that. I think with Acid Static Confusion, it's gonna look awesome. Hurricane, a lot of those dark morphs, Blackhead. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, and I think to the point that I think that most people make with Desert Ghost, actually, it is super versatile. It's something you can layer on top of others that we were talking about what Pied does. Pied just strips everything else away a lot of times. So, it's not like Pied. It's going to accentuate whatever you layer it on top of. So in that way, I definitely think it's outstanding. And that's how I see Ultramel as well, man, putting Ultramel on top. Speaking of Dale, he just posted an Ultramel Acid today. Holy cow, man. That is nice. So, I kind of see that. I equate I bring everything back to either music or food, but I see Desert Ghost as an ingredient that'll just go so. I mean, it's almost like a sauce on top of the other stuff, So it's really fantastic on there. Thanks for sharing those with us. And now the monsoon isn't visual. What other kind of crazy visual stuff do you have that you really enjoy?
This one's a pretty simple combo, but looks really good. It's right here, so I'll grab it real quick.
Well, you're getting that. Hey, thank you very much to Conworker One and Phil Snyder. You guys will keep the rat train going this week with a little extra gas in the tank. And Conworker, the holdback is tough. I got a limited space and I like money. So, I'll work on it though. Thank you for all the support. What do you have?
Okay, so this is a Super Ember. Ember is a different line of fire. And so black-eyed leucistic, but it consistently produces this yellow band with dots on it. So Super Ember.
Okay, so let's go back for a second. So fire to fire would be a black-eyed leucistic, right? Ember's a separate line of fire?
Fire, yeah. I mean, you could get this look from fires, but it's pretty rare. But with the embers, they always produce high yellow black-eyed leucistics. So,
and I missed one other thing. Is that Ember is Super Ember and nothing else, or Super Ember or something else?
Super Ember het hypo. So,
man, that's fantastic.
And the babies I produced this year, half of them are that Ember and half vanilla. So, some people talk about having money snakes in their collection, and I wouldn't mind producing a couple of clutches of these every year, because I know they would be gone just like that, because this animal is just stunning.
Yeah, it is stunning, man.
So one of the things about ball pythons is I know a lot of people are looking to stack as much as possible, but there are a lot of just incredible looking morphs that we don't need to stack so much on.
Right.
And I think one of the goals that I want to be as a breeder is to just line breed and make some simple combos that are just the best of that particular morph. And yeah.
My outlook has never been to stack so many, partially because I can't. So I'll work with the resources I have. So, okay, it's real easy to not be into it if you can't do it. But I love a lot of the recessive genes. I just love the way they look just as they are. So stacking recessives is pretty neat to me, but that's a long, long road. But I really enjoy just what I'm producing right now. And I'm still super early to the game. I mean, there's so much in my world yet to be done. That's a great example. That's a male or a female?
This is a female. And she actually bred last year, but reabsorbed. The males that I put to her just weren't ready, and she'll definitely be ready this season. And she's back to just slamming the rat. So I'm looking forward to maybe putting that Super Enchi pastel desert ghost het hypo to her because we can get some hypos that are 100% desert ghost from her.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There you go. Dale said, so kind of like disco. I'm not sure what that's in.
Like disco. Disco is another line of fire that produces crazy patterns.
Oh, cool. Okay. I'm glad you knew what he was talking about because I did not.
I got my Bobby now.
There you go. That's dude. That is yeah. It's such a unique snake. That is what you should do. What's that one's name? I know you name most of your animals.
This one is Bunny.
Bunny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
any story behind that?
Her sister is named Tigra, and there's this old school rap duo, Tigra and Bunny.
Ah, got it. Okay.
If anybody's listened to old school rap, they know.
I used to have 2 parakeets named Guns and Roses. So the most non-metal thing you could have are a blue and yellow parakeet.
Maybe put her back. I'm going to pull out one more, Adam, if you don't mind.
Please do, man. Please do.
And I hope this girl is crazy. Have you heard how acid, static, confusion are pretty crazy animals?
Yes.
Well, this is a static, and she definitely lives up to that craziness.
I didn't know you had one.
Yeah. And I was going to vote for pastel static acid on your video.
Okay.
This is a pastel static, and it was brought up earlier how they're all the same line, but static just doesn't get the love for some reason. But you can see she's just as beautiful as any confusion or acid.
Yeah, so clarify for me. Acid and confusion are the same. Is static the same as well?
Static is the same as well, yeah.
Okay, so they're 3 lines of the same gene kind of deal. Yeah, that is fantastic. I love, so acid really breaks up pattern. Pastel really breaks up pattern. Look at that, man. It's like a turbo leopard, man.
Yeah, and the color is really unique. It's like a bronze color.
Yeah.
And so pastel works really good with the acid, static, confusion. And they lose that belly though. These guys have really cool bellies, but pastels have that really white belly, so they lose the crazy line that's in there.
Yeah. That would look really good with like Desert Ghost layered on top of it, man. That would just become electric, right?
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. I didn't know that you had one. That's fantastic, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, Mark's just got, oh, by the way, I'll just show you this too.
So that was my vote. Hopefully that's what you picked. We'll find out in July, I guess.
Yeah. No, not July. 2 weeks in June.
Okay. Nice.
2 weeks.
Okay, one more because I need your guys' help on this one.
Okay. From what I've found, the audience is never short of opinions, so we're good there.
Okay, so I got this one at a pet store. And pet stores probably aren't the best place to get ball pythons. And it was sold as a blackhead, phantom / Mojave, het clown female.
Wow.
And, I've never owned blackhead. I've never owned phantom. So I don't know what to believe. And since it's from a pet store, it could be anything really.
Yeah.
Can anyone confirm whether that is blackhead or not?
If my male isn't feeling too feisty, I'll grab mine as well while the audience is checking yours out. Let me go see. Usually at night, I don't hold them because they expect to be fed at night. But let me see. Maybe I'll grab a blackhead real quick.
Go for it. So, guys,
there'll be some experts that'll chime in.
So that particular combo, blackhead, phantom Mojave, het clown female, I looked it up online, and we're looking at like a $2,500 to $3,000 animal, and I got this girl for $400. So there's that huge doubt in my mind whether the genetics behind this is true. But then again, it's just a pet store where people drop off their animals they just want to get rid of. So I figured for $400 it was worth the risk because it's a cool animal. It's a dark animal. I love the dark ball pythons. So
No, my blackhead was not interested in being handled. He greeted me pretty enthusiastically. But I will say the head on I looked closely at the head and the eye stripe, that vivid total break and basically total black from the top. Yours has just a little bit more blushing than mine does, but mine's just blackhead, no Mojave Phantom or anything like that. And the Het Clown usually brings out some of the whites and the highlights. So, man, I would have taken a risk on that. It's a beautiful snake, man.
So let me read through these comments.
Yeah, Socios is, looks blackhead Mojave. Reagan Renee, alien heads lifting and elongating. Okay. Oh yeah, I see a little chain link on the side. I'm moving my mouse around like you guys can see it. That you can't. Will says, is the tip of the tail white? I don't know what that means.
Oh, I believe that's like a clown marker.
Oh, a head clown kind of deal.
Doesn't look white. Well, yeah, I don't know.
4S's likes it. Main Squeeze says, maybe not. Phil thinks black pastel.
Yeah.
Oh, Kike says it's definitely a ball python. We're good there. Kike, I hope you're well, man. One of the best dudes in the community.
Hopefully it's a female. I haven't probed it yet, but.
Oh, you're just totally wide open on this thing. When Main Squeeze says that's a normal until proven otherwise.
That's true.
How long have you had that? You haven't probed it or anything? You don't even know, male or female?
No, I had it since January, and my popping skills aren't the best, especially with the larger ball pythons. Right. But I do have a probe kit that I haven't messed around with yet. But
yeah, last year on my hatchlings, especially the ones that started being pretty valuable, I was like, I kind of suck at popping, man. But the probes, I really actually were great, man. And they're quick, simple answers. It was so much easier for me on the probes.
Okay.
Anything else?
Let's see here. Most of my crazy stuff is in the other room.
All right.
The quarantine room. This is the breeding room.
Gotcha. Well, Mark, let's call it a day there. I'm feeling a little funky. Those of y'all that weren't here at the beginning, I got COVID in my household, and I haven't tested positive yet, but I am feeling like crap. Plus, we had 90 good minutes of content. I always like leaving people wanting more, So, hey, thank you so much for being here, man. I really enjoy hanging out with you, and I look forward to how we can figure out how to hang out in person, man. There's a lot of guests that are on the East Coast or that I'll see either at Daytona or I'll make it to Tinley one of these days. But we got to figure out a West Coast trip sometime, man. I absolutely will do that. If you're ever over this way, I hope you know the door's open, man, for sure.
Thank you so much for having me on. I want to say to the audience, you guys are awesome. I consider you guys friends. We chat a lot in all these lives, and I super appreciate your input and the support.
Yeah. Thank you. I want to second that. I mean, the show is nothing without the audience. So thank you all. It's amazing. 45 people still at the end, and just the stuff that I see, it's incredible. I've come to really enjoy it. I appreciate it. I got to do the math, man. It's at least 8 months I've been doing the show, and you weren't the first guest. So I got to look at my dates. I only have the 2022 calendar right here, but I got to be coming close to a year. And I enjoy coming back. I enjoy all the input. I do listen to you all. I do see you. I do hear you. And let me say this now that we're at the end of the show, because I didn't want to get into it and I don't want to. Thanks for the drama-free. Man, what a nonsense week of BS out there. I got no concern for it. I'm so happy to come here and have a great hangout of ball python content, of cool people. I'm over the moon, thankful for it. I will see y'all next week. We'll do the breeders chat. Who knows who's going to show up? So far, Jeremy Warples and Charlie from Reagan Renee say that they're going to be here. Thank you again to Phil and Conworker1, Phil Snyder at BP Finger Snakes BP. Check out their channel. Check out Phil's channel. He's got a lot of cool stuff going on. And thank you for the financial support. I do appreciate it. I'll see you guys next week. Jaffe coming up, Big E coming up, Breeder Talk next week. Thank you. I'll say y'all good night. Go check out Mark's stuff. And I'm rambling, so I'm going to hit the video. Good night.